this video, we will discuss the shocking story of the collapse of the FTX crypto empire in 2022, which resulted in a multi-billionaire losing his entire fortune in just a few days. We will delve into the details of the corruption scandal surrounding FTX, a crypto exchange platform, and its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was once hailed as the golden boy of the cryptocurrency industry. The collapse of FTX and its currency FTT was particularly surprising because FTT was seen as a survivor in a volatile crypto market. However, as we will uncover, the company's business model was unsustainable and led to its downfall. The collapse of the FTX crypto empire was one of the most talked about tragedies of 2022. The event caused not only the usual level of volatility that frequently affects the speculative digital assets market, but also resulted in a crypto entrepreneur experiencing a rapid decrease in wealth from approximately $16 billion to zero within a short period. But interestingly, new evidence has shown that the situation may be worse than you think. In today's video, we will discuss the FTX disastrous intricate details and reveal the mystery crypto billionaire who lost his entire fortune in 3 odd days. It all began on November 6, 2022. FTT, one of the most prominent currencies in the crypto market, suddenly lost its stability. Consequently, its value began to drop ridiculously. Within the first 72 hours of the tragedy, the token had lost around 80% of its value, all because of a corruption scandal around FTX, the crypto exchange platform behind the token. This sudden collapse was even more shocking because FTT was seen as one of the few survivors of the turbulent crypto cycle. So, where did it all go wrong for FTX and FTT? To understand this messy situation, we need to reveal the identity of the man that connects them all, Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam was seen as the golden boy of crypto for a long time. He appeared on the cover of Fortune and Forbes magazine. He dined and wined with celebrities and people at the top of the social class ladder, including Leonardo DiCaprio, the delectable Sia, and former world's richest man, Jeff Bezos. Many described him as the JP Morgan of the cryptocurrency industry. To be fair, he did live up to that reputation, at least in the early days. He founded a quantitative trading firm, Alameda Research, in 2017. 2 years later, he followed up with FTX, an exchange platform for buying or selling cryptocurrencies. And expectedly, he owned the majority stake in both companies. In the early stages, this arrangement raised eyebrows, especially around conflict of interest. But the 30-year-old maintained at every point that both firms were separate entities, and everyone believed him, including the giant Silicon Valley and Wall Street investors. They attached huge investments worth billions of dollars until FTX became the 4th biggest crypto empire in the world and was sometimes referenced as one of the most reputable rivals of Binance. As FTX expanded worldwide, Sam's reputation grew in leaps and bounds. Even during the major market downturn, he positioned himself as a crypto savior, paying billions of dollars to bail out different firms. To the world, he was the savior, but in reality, his business model was unsustainable and primed for failure. The alarm bells began to ring on November 2nd when CoinDesk released a report detailing how Alameda claimed to have a $14 billion balance sheet. However, most of that value was held in FTX tokens, and with the coin plunging by the day, doomsday was almost certainly lurking. Alameda CEO Caroline Ellison vehemently denied these reports, claiming the balance sheet was incomplete. Furthermore, she added that the company's financial situation was under control. However, investors didn't fall for these sugar-coated assurances. The following days after the report was published, many investors withdrew their holdings from FTX. By November 6th, the tension around FTX had reached its peak, but there was even more disaster on the way. Within a few hours, the world's largest crypto platform, Binance, announced it would sell all of its FTT tokens. This triggered a surge in FTX commerce as the daily transaction value hit a whopping $4 billion, many times more than the normal average. By November 7th, FTX was processing around $6 billion worth of transactions daily. As the problems grew out of hand, the platform's administrators signed a non-binding agreement with Binance. Under this agreement, Binance was mandated to acquire FTX as long as it passed the financial audit. But just 2 days later, Binance pulled out of the deal, which suggests it had found something strange in FTX's account, and it was only a matter of time before we got to hear the full gist. To begin with, official documents showed that FTX was funding Alameda's risky bets with money belonging to customers. As the decline went on, Bankman-Fried stepped down as the CEO of FTX. And just like the CEO of his other company had done earlier, he tried to deflect the attention on paper and cracks. Both FTX and Alameda filed for bankruptcy. Of course, Sam and his cohorts went all over the place peddling news of how the platform had suffered a cyber attack, leading to an estimated loss of around $370 million in crypto. This was a massive shock for traders and investors who had invested millions of dollars into FTT or FTX, as the case may be. For a fact, this wasn't the first time the crypto entity would file for bankruptcy. But nobody, absolutely nobody, would have thought that one of the world's largest cryptocurrencies, managed by the golden boy of crypto himself, would suddenly hit the deck. But intriguingly, this was just a tiny part of the whole story. Further investigation revealed that a cyber attack did not cause the sudden collapse of FTX. On the contrary, experts found that the primary reason why it occurred was Alameda's decision to gamble customers' money on risky investments without their permission. According to reports, around $10 billion of customer funds were moved from FTX to Alameda. Not only is this against the law of the crypto market, but it's also against the regulations of FTX. But the perpetrators didn't exactly care about what the law said, especially since they were making tons of profit. Unsurprisingly, executives of FTX, including Sam Bankman-Fried himself, were said to be aware of this evil scheme, which has led to the greatest crypto scam of all time. Perhaps the most shocking thing about this sad turn of events is the way it happened and the caliber of people involved, especially given the reputation of Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the main centerpiece of the story. Aside from being the golden boy, Sam grew up in a seemingly responsible home. His mother, Barbara, is a law practitioner and co-founder of multiple Democratic fundraising organizations. This means she is well connected to some high-ranking members of the political class in the US. Similarly, his father Joseph was a professor of law who used influence to raise money for FTX during the early stages of the company's existence. Sam, a 2014 MIT graduate, worked at the reputable Jane Street Capital. At the company, he discovered a way to purchase Bitcoin at a lower price in the US and sell it for a higher price in Japan. This strategy was the primary source of his wealth and allowed him to become rich quickly. But even in the face of wealth, Sam remained humble. He didn't opt for an extravagant hairstyle or car. On the contrary, he stuck with his hoppy hair and drove a modest Toyota. This made him more likable to the general public. But little did they know that he was the gang leader of an illegal crypto scheme in the Bahamas. And while he lived a humble life in the US, Sam owned a $30 million mansion in the Bahamas. And instead of hiring capable hands, Sam hired his ex-roommates and made them top executives in both of his companies, which made no sense. However, looking at it again, Sam could have chosen this management style to cover up his tracks. Sam's interest in a business in the Bahamas should have given his evil motives away. Not only did he accumulate assets in the Bahamas, but the headquarters of both FTX and Alameda is also located in the country. But his incredible reputation on the street earned him investors' trust, and you've got to admit that the man himself is pretty intelligent. Being the evil genius that he is, Sam engaged in some very impressive PR campaigns to promote FTX. The crypto company signed several advertising deals with established sports entities like the Golden State Warriors and the Mercedes F1 team. In no time, some of the world's most famous sports stars began to throw their full weight around FTX. The list includes Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, Larry David, and Naomi Osaka. According to reports, rather than pay in cash, Sam rewarded these athletes with equity in FTX. Investigations also revealed that FTX operated without a board of directors. As if that needs to be better, Sam Bankman-Fried and his cohorts built an infrastructure to move funds to Ukraine under the guise of cryptocurrency donations. But once the money arrived in the war-torn country, they quickly converted it to fiat currency. They deposited it at the National Bank of Ukraine. While this high-level money laundering scheme was going on, Sam became suspiciously involved in politics. He donated $5 million to Joe Biden's presidential campaign. In addition, he donated around $50 million to several politicians ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. At the same time, Ryan Salami, a non-popular figure within the FTX hierarchy, donated $23 million to Republican politicians. In other words, FTX was aggressively buying over the political class in the US, and somehow they got away with it. That's not surprising though, considering the political affiliations of Sam and his parents. More worryingly, the head of the Security Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler, is said to have worked with Caroline Ellison's dad at MIT. And Caroline, if you remember well, is the CEO of Alameda, owned by Sam Bankman-Fried. This scheme is well established, and it's just shocking that it took this long to expose them. For Sam Bankman-Fried, it's a shameful fall from grace to grass. He has gone from being one of the wealthiest crypto entrepreneurs to becoming worthless in a few days. But you feel like he deserves it. However, the victims of the scheme, it's a sad watch, and one that would dent the image of crypto for a long time. The collapse of the FTX crypto empire was a major disaster that had significant consequences for the cryptocurrency market and its investors. The corruption scandal and unsustainable business practices of the company and its founder Sam Bankman-Fried contributed to the rapid decline of FTT and the loss of billions of dollars in wealth. The event also impacted the cryptocurrency market's reputation, highlighting the need for transparency and ethical practices in the industry. As we have shown in this video, the story of the FTX collapse is a complex and shocking one with far-reaching implications. If you enjoyed learning about this topic, subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on similar stories and check out our other videos for more fascinating content.